What's up, guys? Hey, it's official. President Joe Biden is saying that he is going to be running for re-election in 2024 and he is going to be fixing things with our economy. Let's dive into the details. So it has been confirmed that Biden is going to be running again. He intends to in 2024. Biden said, "I'm going to be running again." He's planning on doing another term. But the question is, what can he do to fix the broken economy? To the surprise of no one outside the White House, a recent ABC News Washington Post poll showed that 74% of Americans believe the economy is in bad shape, up from 58% in the spring of 2021. With 84% of respondents identifying the economy as a top issue in the upcoming midterm elections and 74% saying the same about inflation, why does Biden administration seem more intent on exacerbating the problems than addressing them? Let's take a look at how Biden got us into the current economic crisis and what he could do to get us out of it. It says, while there are many moving pieces in any economy, the root causes of inflation are relatively straightforward. In normal economic times, the markets balance supply and demand, minimizing inflation. For example, if the demand for a particular retail good is high, but the supply of that good is low, retailers will increase prices, resulting in reduced demand. When the supply of a particular good is greater than the demand, retailers will lower their prices, increasing demand. The goal is to keep supply and demand in balance, and our free market economy naturally trends towards that balance, which was the case during the Trump administration. Problems arise when the government intervenes. During the pandemic, the government intervened big time by approving $4.1 trillion in relief measures under President Donald Trump. This makes sense under the circumstances, as people were unable to work and needed to pay their bills. But pandemic restrictions made it impossible for them to spend at traditional levels. So it was obvious to virtually everyone that coming out of the pandemic, we were going to experience accelerated demand. It was also obvious that the supply of goods could be low. Businesses were unable to determine either what to produce or what to order during the pandemic, as there was no clear timeline for when it could end. As Biden took office, vaccines became available, and things started returning to normal. Economists who had served in both Democrat and Republican administrations saw the problem. Demand was unnaturally high and supply was unnaturally low. They warned Biden and his Democrat elites that increased government spending would choose demand-driving inflation. The Biden administration ignored the advice, denied the existence and severity of any problem, and spent with the abandonment of drunken sailors. In March of 2021, Biden and the Democrats unilaterally and unnecessarily passed their $1.9 trillion spending bill, ironically called the American Rescue Plan, at a time when most Americans were already flush with cash. That released to inflation kraken. To make matters worse, it was followed by a $1.1 trillion infrastructure bill, a climate change bill with $437 billion in spending, absurdly called the Inflation Reduction Act, and a $400 billion student loan write-off. Not surprisingly, inflation surged and continues at levels not seen in 40 years. So what could Biden do to reverse the results of his thus far disastrous economic policies? Simply, it says that we need to reduce demand, increase supply, and inflation will subside. It's not like this is a mystery. While incomprehensibly late to the game, the Fed is finally doing its part by raising interest rates to slow the economy and reduce demand. The problem is that the Biden administration continues to spend with abandon, further increasing demand, while the Fed is raising interest rate to lower demand. The more Biden and Democrats deride demand with massive government spending, the higher the Fed needs to raise rates to reduce it. So the first thing Biden should do is to stop choosing demand and support the Fed. On the other side of the economic scale, Biden should immediately pursue policies that increase supply to bring supply and demand back into balance. There is no mystery about what policies work in this respect. First, cut taxes. Make the Trump tax cuts permanent and stop talking about increasing taxes or setting global minimums. Second, stop the regulatory surge that is sapping the productivity of American businesses, particularly the oil and gas sector. Rather, focus on increasing domestic energy production, reducing the cost of everything. And this is not some unproven formula. This is the very formula that President Reagan employed to end the horrific recession with the experience in the 1980s coming out of the Carter era. So they are going to happen. This article lays out a game plan for them to get things done and get things back on track. They are saying, stop the spending, let the Fed increase the interest rates, and try to figure out how to balance the supply and demand of our economy. And also we have those leftover funds just sitting there. We could potentially tap into those to send our relief to the American people, but not add to the debt and inflation. We heard that the pandemic is still taking place, even though Biden just recently said it was over. They said that he misspoke in that comment, and it's still continuing. There are still cases, there's still a lot of people suffering right now. How do you think we'll resolve this and get back on track? I will keep you up to date every step of the way. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.